Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we are taking another big leap, this time into the world of front-end deployment. In this tutorial, we will navigate through deploying the front-end part of our blog project using Vercel. Again, whether you're just starting out in the field or a well-versed developer, this guide will provide valuable insights. So let's not wait any longer and dive right in. Our journey will consist of these major steps, the first being preparing your Next.js project, then pushing your project to source control, in this case GitHub, then pulling your code to Vercel and building, and finally acquiring a domain and linking it to your Vercel instance. Before we delve into these steps, please ensure that you are subscribed to the channel if you haven't already, and if you find this content useful, don't forget to leave a like and share. Also, I have another video where I showed how we deploy the backend side of the blog project to DigitalOcean server. If you will be interested in that, I'll leave a link to that in the description section. In this first stage, we'll discuss how to prepare your Next.js project for deployment. Proper preparation is key to ensuring a smooth deployment process. So to prepare our code, and this being a Next.js project, all we have to do is to come back to our system to build and see that it's able to build. So we can quickly just do yarn build and wait for it. Alright, so from the look of things, it looks like our build was successful. And that's more or less like it. That's a good signal. However, before we proceed to pushing this code to our source control, which we've already been doing, we already have it on our source control, we also want to ensure that we are using the latest API. Technically, if you are going to be working on two different API, maybe you have a local API and a public API, then you want to set things up in your env file and kind of use them differently. So what I mean here is that you can set an env configuration for your local file, or for your local API URL, or for other things you want to have. Then on your Vercel side as well, you can set your env information to use at that point. But since we are only using single API, that won't be necessary. So all I would do here is come back to the server and just change this to our latest blog API. So it's HTTPS, then blog API .adifemigrate.com. So ensure that the last part is still there because that will be needed. And before we do any other thing, we need to run the server to see that this actually works. So we can do yarn start, or rather yarn build again. And this time we'll be building with the latest information. So let's wait for it. All right, cool. So looks like everything still works well. Now we can do yarn start. So if you take notes, all this while all we've been doing is yarn dev, and that's running things in develop mode. But now that we've built everything, we can now use yarn start to actually run things in production mode. All right, so our server is up and running. Let's pull it up. Localhost 3000. And yeah, as you can see, we get our blog up and running. So we can go over everything to test that they are working the way we want. So we got this. We can also click on this and we get our blog content based on tech. So on this note, we are technically done with preparing our code, and now we can push to our source control. And like I said, we've been doing that already. So we can easily just go back to our code. And one final thing I want to do before we actually push is our console logs. So find console logs. So we can come here, console log. Okay, so we have two of them. We can remove them. So here we can just have to do and do error. And yeah, when you have time for that, you can come to that later on. Then this second one as well, the same thing. To do and do error. Okay, we are good with that. Once more, we can build, but that won't be necessary. So the whole building we are doing locally is just to ensure that everything is okay. So when we push our code to the Vercel site, we are sure that everything will work. So we don't need to build again based on all the changes we've made. It's not going to be pushed anyway. So now that we have confirmed that, we can push our code to our source control. And again, if you're wondering how to set up your source control, I've already done that in the deployment for the backend section. I'll leave a link to that in the description section, so that shouldn't be an issue. So now that has been established, I can do git add all. I can add all my changes, git commit -n complete setup. Then I can do git push. Alright, so with this done, everything should be updated within our source control. Now we are ready to pull our code into Vercel and build our projects. Vercel provides a seamless platform for deploying and hosting Next.js projects. This becomes easy since we have our code on GitHub already. Alright guys, now that we have our code within our source control, in this case GitHub, we can go into Vercel and set things up. So this is vercel.com, and that's all you need to type in, and you'll be presented with this page if you don't have an account already. So what I want us to do is we should link it with our GitHub account, because that will be important. Because in this case, Vercel will be the one to scout through our GitHub account and look for the project we want to deploy. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue with GitHub. So I'll be authenticated and I'll be presented with this dashboard, and as you can see, we have 2 projects running already. And now we want to add a new one, a project. So as you can see, it's able to scout through your GitHub repo and see all the repositories you have. In this case, the block-rate frontend is the one we want to work with. And as you can see, it recognizes it as a Nextjs project. So all we'll do is import it. We'll set up some necessary stuff we need to. I think I'll still leave the name as block-rate frontend. So I'll just leave everything the way it is, and I'll allow it to do its thing. So I'll click on deploy here and let it do its thing. Alright guys, as you can see, we've been blessed with the congratulations page, signifying that our build was successful. And as you can see from here, we can have an instant preview. And in this case, Vercel is going to give us a domain to access our page. Even though that works, that's probably not what we want. And what we want at the end of the day would be to add our own domain so that we can customize things to our need. So for now, we can just go through the instant preview route to see the URL and to see that things work. So let's click on this link. And as you can see, we have our page running on Vercel's domain. So yeah, we are good to go. However, in the next step, we are going to be linking our own domain to actually view this. Stay tuned for that. Great job, guys. Now that our project is built on Vercel, it's time for the final step, acquiring a domain and linking it to our Vercel instance. This will make our project accessible to the public. Alright, so the domain part is going to be divided into 2, and the first part involves us getting our domain. However, I've done that in a previous tutorial when I was deploying for the backend side, and I would recommend we check that out if we are curious on how we get to this page. So with that said, we are back on this DNS page on our Cloudflare account, and now we want to link our Vercel instance to a subdomain here. So like I said before, this project is going to be a subdomain for the Adefemigrate domain. So on that note, we can come back to our Vercel side, and back on this dashboard, the block-rate frontend, we will see domains. So we want to click on this, and we want to add a domain. So in this case, we are going to have blog.adefemigrate.com, and we add. Alright, so from the look of things, we need to have some configuration, and that's quite easy. So all we need to do is to copy this, come back to our Cloudflare, and add a record. So the record we are adding in this case is going to be a CNAME record, and the name is going to be blog, just like we have there. Then we are going to provide this target information, and we'll save. So once this is done, we can come back to Vercel, and Vercel will automatically pick this and make things ready. And as you can see, it's done already, and we can click on this URL and we get our page. And that's it working quite well. And there you have it, guys. We've successfully deployed our blog project on Vercel. And that marks the end of the series, at least for now. We might be revisiting to add some features in the future. Thanks for joining us in this tutorial and throughout the series. If you found it helpful or insightful, please leave a like and share it with your friends and community, and subscribe to our channel. We would also love to hear about your own experience and answer any questions you might have, so feel free to leave a comment below. Stay tuned for more exciting content. Bye for now.